Oh, your pants are spoopy.
Dallas. Today on Com Talk, we're taking a trip back to the 80s.
Sorta. What is happening here? Celeste, something's happening on the planet Geekery right this second.
Glix, Priority Alpha Command, open comms, now.
Loading Geek Culture Language Patches. Loading Spiritual Applications. Loading Grace and Hope Directives. Comms opening in 3, 2, 1.
Hello, devoted geeks, and welcome to Com Talk, podcast extension of Geek Devotions, a show from devoted geeks who are devoted to letting people know they're loved. I'm Dallas, and joining me for episode 191 is Celeste.
Hi.
How are you, babe?
I'm good.
I interrupted your singing.
You did.
Let's try again. Joining me is
Celeste.
There we go. We're back on track now, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going on a trip.
In our favorite rocket ship?
Yes.
There's so many people that aren't going to get that.
Yeah, probably. All right, so Celeste, can you explain today's intro?
So we came to the realization that everything we were talking about today, every topic is a property from the 80s, even if what we are talking about is not specifically from the 80s.
Pretty much.
Because, like, which one do you want to start with?
Well, let's rewind. So we had a little vacation.
We did.
By vacation, I mean we had the day off.
Yeah.
And we binged a show.
We did.
So let's start with that property.
Okay. So we have been watching Dragon Ball Kai.
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Z Kai. And we got through so much material on Monday.
So fast.
Like, I was in a little bit of overload because of just the severity of some of the story.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting here going, geez, is this not ever going to be over?
Now, when you say that, are you complaining about what you watched?
No.
Okay.
I'm just saying that by the end of the, you know how you like mentally can get overloaded with stuff?
Yeah.
By the end of the day, I was mentally overloaded and I was ready to yeet Vegeta off the planet myself.
That's fair. So, now for those not familiar with Dragon Ball Z Kai, it's the kind of a, not to be confused with Dragon Ball Abridged, but it's basically the abridged version of Dragon Ball Z. They add some cleaner panels. They trim up the story quite a bit, cut out a lot of filler.
Yeah.
And like literally, we killed all of season 1. Went from Raditz to everything with Vegeta and Nappa, and the big fight, and the start of the Cell Saga or the Frieza Saga.
Mm-hmm.
Like in a single. Not even a full day. We started like at 10 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
So like less than 12 hours, we killed it.
It moved so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm sitting here going, that was a lot. maybe. I think I prefer how we've been doing it the rest of the week, where it's like we watch 1 or 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And then we come back to it. Because I'm going, this is like, even though this is a OVA style thing, it's still a lot, and it's meant to be taken in,
right?
Not 12 hours at a time.
Those of you listening, several months ago we kind of started watching Dragon Ball Z, and so the question becomes, Celeste, what do you think about Kai?
I like that it moves faster because we were having a hard time consistently having time to watch Dragon Ball, if that makes sense. And so we still had not gotten off Snake Way.
It's true, we hadn't.
Much like Goku.
Yeah.
It took us forever. And so there were things that, like the episode where Goku falls and goes to hell. That one, even though it was filler, I feel like was funny enough. It should have been included, but
then like there was that whole episode where Gohan ends up in this little like abandoned town with orphans, and then he has this whole moment where he almost gets home, but he realizes he needs to turn back around and finish his training because it's something important.
Yeah.
And that's missing from Kai also.
It's one of those things of, at least from what I had already watched, some of the filler added world building and added to the, like, you feel for Gohan.
Yeah.
But some of it was just needless, I guess. I don't know. I appreciate the quicker storytelling, though, because it is closer to more modern storytelling.
Yeah.
And that is something I'd been struggling with.
Yeah, it is definitely a more modern storytelling. Faster pace for sure.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about that first arc between Raditz and Nappa and Vegeta. That's a big story right there.
I feel like the fight with Vegeta could have been its own arc.
Oh my goodness, you're not joking. That was like, even in this abridged version, it was like 4 or 5. I'm curious what they cut. I can't remember what they cut out.
It was almost a whole disc by itself, just the fight. And the fight really is what had me going, ugh, I need to be done with this for the day. But at the same time, we were so close to finishing the arc, I didn't want to be like, hey, can we just stop for the day? Yeah.
So, but the whole thing, like all the Z fighters coming together, fighting Vegeta, fighting Nappa. I remember one point you're like, your comment was, it wasn't just you're burnt out, it was the fact that you're like, this is brutal.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Like what was taking place in there. What was that like for you watching all that?
Everybody died. Like, the only 2 survivors were Goku and Krillin of the Z fighters. Now, I still am not sure who Yajirobe and what's his name? Tien are, because we didn't watch all the way through Dragon Ball. Got a lot further in that than we did in Z, but still. So like, I have no necessarily connection to them, but they killed Yamcha. Like, I'm like, how dare you? How dare you kill
you were
Yamcha?
So offended when they killed Yamcha.
I was.
Oh my gosh. It's funny because you've been watching through Dragon Ball. A lot of people, they didn't watch Dragon Ball when they watched this. They watched Z. And so when Yamcha died, they were like, good riddance. Like that, because he was annoying for several people.
He is annoying, but still.
Yep.
I would be annoying too if I had to put up with Bulma.
You're not wrong.
I'm hoping that Bulma matures as the show goes on.
Kind of.
Well, because like some of the stuff that she was doing, like she was in a relationship with Yamcha, and so some of the stuff she was doing, I'm like, this man can do better than you. He just needs to leave you, dear. Like, you keep breaking up with him. He just needs to stay gone. I didn't mean dead, but just just gone. Like, he needs to not come back and
this is over here advocating for Yamcha. This poor man.
This poor man.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Like, and I'm not saying that Yamcha is my favorite, but I am saying he deserves better than Bulma.
I give you that. Oh my goodness gracious. So I did appreciate, like, within the storytelling, because you got through it so much. The action was far more intense, it seemed like.
Oh
than
my
at times.
gosh.
We were talking about this the other day, you and I, about how a lot of people, they crap on Zed because they haven't been watching the story. They catch bits and pieces of it. And if you follow the story, if you know what's going on,
right,
like there's a lot happening here, and you're invested. And at least for me, that's the way it was. Watching Z, I feel like, or watching Kai, I feel like that highlights the story more. Is that like, do you feel like you're pretty invested in this now?
Oh yeah,
you
absolutely.
Do you feel like you understand why people liked it so much? You grew up with it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I will say that if my only exposure to Dragon Ball Z though was the Ginyu Force, like just the introduction to the Ginyu Force, I'd be like, what the crap am I watching? And it was so weird because I know we're skipping ahead of the arc we said we were going to be talking about,
Mhm.
but it's so weird because like they're freaking out so much about the Ginyu Force.
Mm-hmm.
And then they show up and they're like the Godzilla in the rubber suit. Not even good Godzilla, like the Godzillas I don't like to watch.
Right. It is kind of the tokusatsu.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a cultural thing though.
It is.
Like, it's so, but
But they're like
Godzilla.
they're like, they're here. We have to hurry. And I'm like, oh my God, they're about to murder everything. And then they show up and do their little magical girl intro. And I'm like, what is happening?
It wasn't a magical girl intro.
Only because they didn't spin and change clothes.
It was very much a Super Sentai style.
Yeah, that's true. I think that Super Sentai style, though, is a magical girl intro. Super Sentai and magical girls are the same thing. It's just one looks more manly.
Well, with that being said, Drew from the Cel Cast and Nathan Marchand from Monster Island Film Vault, we leave you guys to leave your thoughts on that comment Celeste just made about Super Sentai and Magical Girl anime being the same stinking thing.
Bite me.
Oh my gosh. So, yeah, so that's kind of been what we've been doing for the last couple of weeks with Dragon Ball though, and
Yeah.
Overall, I've enjoyed it going through it like this.
I have too, especially like the Namek stuff when you're like, I have no memory of this. I was like, oh, we're getting to watch it together then.
Yeah. Namek, the whole Frieza saga is special to me because that's, for context, when I watched Dragon Ball Z originally, when I was going through the original story arcs of what do you call it, the Saiyan saga. I was living in Missouri. We had a black and white TV, not black and white TV. We had a TV that was getting a black and white station that played Dragon Ball Z, and I don't know which version of Z I was watching because I know there's a couple versions of it. But that's how I was introduced to Dragon Ball, and so jacking with the antenna, trying to get it right to see it. And that's how I fell in love with it. But coming here, though, I was able to watch it because it was on Toonami.
Right.
And, of course, that was a wild time for my family. And so I have a lot of nostalgia, but there are a couple moments where I'm just like, oh, man, I forgot this was a thing, or I don't remember this at all. So it's been pretty cool for me to watch that.
Right. I still don't understand how we end up with Vegeta being part of the good guys.
It strangely makes sense. We have to finish this arc. Like, we're almost there where you start to see it happen. We're kind of there now.
Yeah, I can kind of see, like, the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing happening. But how do we end up with, we're all having a barbecue on the back porch of Vegeta's house, like we did with Broly?
We will get there.
Okay.
We will get there.
This is, A and B are not equaling C for me.
We're going to get there.
This is the biggest issue, is that I have seen the Broly movie, and there was a scene where they're like chilling.
Did you not watch F with me?
Watch what?
The where Goku first fights Barris?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. The only one that I've seen is the Broly one, and that's because Yumi and Namera all went.
That's right. I need to have you watch the original Broly movie. That's a trip. We need to get the new Broly movie on DVD, Blu-ray, so I can have the collection. Because I have Bio Broly, and I have the original Broly story.
Well, all I know is that there is a scene where they are legitimately having a barbecue, and there is a naked cat who has clothes on running around.
Who thinks Bulma is an amazing cook, and the only reason he hasn't blown up Earth is because Bulma makes him food.
You know, they say that the way to a man's heart's through his stomach. I thought it was his rib cage, but maybe the way to a cat's heart is through its stomach.
Possibly. So, with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on to the next topic. Which one do you want to talk about? That's it's new, but originally from the 80s.
Why don't we do the game?
The game, yeah. Okay.
I lost the game.
Oh, I've lost the game too. I'm going to timestamp that in the podcast. I will. It's going to say, don't click here. And somebody has done it. And they're like, dang it.
No.
And then you got people like Francisco who's like, no, I don't play the game. Or no, he's going to be like, I won the game. That's how it is. And he's going to do like, whoosh, high five. And I'm going to be like, haha, it doesn't work that way. You still lost the game, sir.
Yep. Okay. But anyway, let's talk about your game.
All right. So my game. So as a belated birthday gift, Celeste got me Gundam Breaker 4.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been having so much fun.
You have.
It is a game where it's connected to Gunpla, which is the model building for Gundams. And there was Gundam Breaker 1 through 3, which everyone loved. They thought it was great. And then they were like, we're going to make it better. And they're going to do new Gundam Breaker. And everyone was like, this is terrible. Like,
so technically Gundam Breaker 4 is Gundam Breaker 5?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So what we do is you go Gundam Breaker 1, 2, 3.
We ignore new,
and then it's just 4. That's how it is. And life goes on and everyone's happy. And I legitimately have Gundam Breaker 4, new Gundam Breaker here at the house.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried playing it. I genuinely did. And oh my goodness, the controls are rough.
Yeah.
I don't want to give too much information about Gundam Breaker 4 because we are going to do a review on it.
Right.
For the Gundam Watch. And we're also going to have an official review on the channel eventually. But
that's something to look forward to.
But man, it's been fun. Just building the Gunpla. And it's not the same. Like when I zone out to build Gunpla, it's the process.
Mm-hmm.
This is like we're getting parts, we're piecing things together, but then there's like a whole diorama thing where you can build dioramas with them, and then the story missions they leave you feeling good on the inside.
Right.
And it's fun. I've really been enjoying it. And I got Branson into it. Branson is like he is staying up way too late playing it, and he was gonna do a review with me, but he is so far behind because he gets caught up doing the diorama stuff. I'm like, I need you to finish chapter 2. Please finish chapter 2 because it unlocks everything that we need to really unlock to talk about the game.
Right,
Billy's.
Dear Branson, please finish chapter 2.
Yeah, I'll say this: the battle style. I like the way the battle style works in it. It reminds me heavily of Dynasty Warriors Gundam 2.
Which is a game you truly love.
I genuinely love that game, and I wish I could play it more often. But that being said, I can confidently recommend it, folks. I think it's a fun game. If you know anything about Gundam, there's going to be a lot of little Easter eggs. You're gonna be like, oh my goodness, I love this. Have you ever seen the Gundam build animes?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like one of those animes, and it's in all the right ways.
Right.
And so I've been enjoying it, guys.
He has been enjoying it. So I knew that was going to be a shorter conversation. So I was like, let's go ahead and do that one.
Yeah. That's the thing.
The middle of things.
So, all right. Well, we're going to come back after a break, and we're going to talk about our last thing from the 80s. It's now today. And say it with me twice. Beetlejuice.
In a world where live-action movies reign supreme, two awesome dudes are keeping things animated. If you want to hear a couple of animation nerds gush about the movies they love, then hop, run, or fly on over to the Cel Cast. Available on most podcast platforms.
Crikey, looky there! It's a rare taco-phibian. You rarely see such a... Did you see that? A cracking glitz kaiju just chowed down that taco.
But what does that even mean?
It means that when you're done listening to Com Talk, check out the Retro Rewind podcast.
Oh, okay.
This podcast is a proud member of Culture Box. Whether you enjoy geeky reviews, comedy, or original fiction, you can open up the Culture Box and find something excellent for your soul. Point your web browser to culturebox.media.
All right, and we're back from our break.
We say day.
All right. So, in case you guys missed it, Beetlejuice just came out, and we actually have a devotion based on it.
We do.
On our YouTube channel. Make sure you guys go check that out. You also visit our website, geekdevotions.com, if you want to check that out. But let's talk about the movie, Celeste. What did you think of the movie?
I had so much fun.
Yeah.
With the movie. Like, it was just a lot of fun. And this is why I didn't watch Beetlejuice as a kid. I watched it fairly recently.
Mm-hmm.
And it was one of those that I kind of just immediately latched onto.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not my favorite, but it's in the realm of movies. I'm like, yes, we need to watch this.
Right.
And honestly, 2 is kind of in there too.
Yeah.
Because it's not I saw somebody say something about it wasn't, the storytelling felt rushed and there were some plot holes, and I'm going, but that's kind of the vibe for the movie.
I really think it was all that bad at all.
It wasn't. Like, I agree that some of the stuff was a little rushed, but it wasn't. Again, this is what that movie is going for. It's not going for a critically acclaimed movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's going for the feel of the original.
Yeah.
Which was a B movie.
I'm trying to find a tweet or X, whatever you call it now, that Tweak from Beneath the Tangles put out, but I can't find it for some reason.
Oh, did he go see the movie?
He did. And I thought you described it pretty great, actually. Oh, here you go. All right, goes, guys, Beetlejuice was so good. Man, Tim Burton at his best. In all ways, truly a sequel to the original. Not half-baked, not an attempt to update it for 2024, not a money grab, and I think super accessible to adults and kids who are experiencing Beetlejuice for the very first time. And so I bring that up, say, I think Tweak couldn't have said it better.
Yeah. Like, and that is the problem with sequels that are years and years later, is that they feel like they're just trying to grab money.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, here's a property you love. Give us monies to see it. But it didn't feel like that.
No, it felt right. Like the way that they updated it. And again, like you said, it wasn't even an update. It was a genuine continuation of the story in a good way. And the jokes landed for me.
Yeah.
It felt like a natural progression of things.
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of a side thought about kind of everything we're talking about here. Dragon Ball Kai was a great retelling, but it didn't feel like a money grab. It's like, hey, let's make the story accessible to you.
Right.
Gundam Breaker. It's making the property Gundam accessible to people because people don't know these things.
Right.
But they're like, oh, these are cool. These are interesting. And it's pulling people back into the fandom who maybe have never heard of it before. And that's what I love about stuff like what we talked about today. It's not just a money grab. It's not just a selfish little, oh, here's the thing that people are throwing out. Like, you could tell people who cared about the projects put some work into it. So
I came across a TikTok today that was talking about like things you didn't know about Beetlejuice. And one of the things was they originally were going to do a sequel in the 90s.
Oh.
And it just never happened. And then in like 2014, they were like, hey, let's take that script. It was supposed to be like Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian. And let's update it. And it still took them 10 more years to get it out because it's 2024 now. And it was 2014.
Yeah.
So, but that and the fact that the cast was, for the most part, the same cast. The ones who weren't able to be there, it was handled well. Like, it was just well done.
Yeah. And I don't know what else we could say about it. It's just, it was really well done. I don't want to give spoilers away for it.
Right. Well, I mean, because this is Saturday. It came out technically yesterday, unless you went to see an early showing like we did.
But it was a lot of fun. And I would encourage folks that if it's something you enjoy, Obviously, there's some people that, they're not going to be able to handle it for one reason or another. That's cool, respect it. But if you're a fan of Beetlejuice, check it out because it's genuinely funny. And it's a great continuation. My twin, Tasha, she said she took her kids to see it and they loved it too.
Oh, yeah.
And so...
She made a post. She goes, she's humoring my excitement. Because her kid was there with her and they were watching it together. But it is, again, this is a spooky movie that's okay for kids.
Yeah.
Like, there was maybe one.
What is it John calls it? Spoopy?
Spoopy.
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 Yeah.
But that can sound odd, so I don't like to say it rather than see it in spelling. But it's cutesy stuff. Like, it's not...
I'm just thinking about, like, if you have, like, you buy one of those outfits that's, like, all, like, Halloween decked out, but it's, like, cute little animals and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, your pants are spoopy.
Dallas. Well, that's the episode, folks. I'm just done. But it's a way it's kind of like the Ghostbusters movies.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. There's some stupid jokes.
Mm-hmm. There's
some funny jokes.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the stupid jokes are more intelligent than they want you to think they are. So it's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And I think Michael Keaton had a blast.
Oh man, you could tell he was having fun with it. Anything else we want to say or add?
Not without spoilers.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's the spoiler aspect of it. Don't just want to go into that.
No.
But I would say, guys, check out the devotion. It's really good. Celeste talked about...
The devotion does have spoilers.
Yeah, it does. But she talked about guarding your heart. And it comes from the point of view that there were two characters who, because they weren't careful with their emotions, they allowed people to speak into their lives. And that's a real thing. Like,
it is.
People that they're hurting and they allow the wrong people to speak into their lives. And those people, sometimes unintentionally, but sometimes maliciously, take advantage of folks like that. And it was a good episode that you did, Celeste, about the warning of that. And I thought the movie was a great example of that whole situation.
It really was. So it was your idea that I springboarded off of. Because at 9:20 at night, my idea was not formed enough to be filmed the next morning.
Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, well, coming down the pipeline for Geek Devotions, we just had a Batman episode drop. Our bottom shelf episode reviewing Batman 1966 with special guest Kevin Joshua Burnham. He came hung out with us during GeekCon, and that's there. Branson's working on another episode of the Spider-Fan podcast.
Yep.
We're working on scheduling some stuff with John for the next month for the bottom shelf. What's we read allegedly just do, Celeste?
We read allegedly just dropped a episode called Shark Heart about a book where a man has a condition where he is slowly turning into a great white shark. And I have thoughts.
And she does have thoughts, ladies and gentlemen.
I want it known on this podcast that I was being kind on that podcast. Because we had a guest who picked the book. And I did not want to offend.
Yes.
Although I still have questions about some of the logistics of things. But that's a discussion for another time.
Indeed. So we're working on figuring out the theme for next month. What that'll look like, what that could be. I have a genuine question for you guys. How do you feel about the theme months that we have going on here? Are they hitting for you? Are they not hitting for you? I'm just curious what you guys' thoughts are. Trying to think what else we need to say or do.
I think we're good.
Yeah.
So this month is going to be interesting for us in general because it's a month where we don't have a theme. So we get to play in a bunch of different sandboxes.
Yep. We do have to get some stuff kind of ducks in a row on a few things.
Yeah.
Celeste and I are doing some training down south. And it's a youth leaders refresher. And New Iberia. And so, but it's like a Thursday, Friday. So we have to have at least one episode in the can ready to go beforehand.
Yeah. I think that's supposed to be my week, so I'm gonna try to get something done this week.
Yay!
We have Booklog Golf going on.
Yes, and the competition is heating up.
It is. I want to say that this year is the most discussion that we've had in that chat.
To be fair, most of the discussion were certain individuals yelling at me to slow down.
No.
Me, Dallas, who doesn't read at all. And I'm getting in trouble for reading.
And I told them to stop that, and they go, "You're doing great."
Not posted any points in the last several days.
Did you post the book that you finished?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Who's in the lead right now? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head.
Well, if you want to find out who's in the lead, check out the Discord channel and find out that way.
And it's not too late to join. We were only a week in.
Yeah. And
there are legitimately some people who still haven't put points on the board. So you can join them.
That's funny. That's funny stuff. All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, thanks for hanging out. Celeste, land the plane.
Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to Com Talk today. If you have loved this episode, head on over to Apple Podcasts or to Spotify to rate and leave a review. It is very much appreciated. So until next time, stay devoted.
Peace and love.